So here's an example of solving linear equations in two variables. So we've got two equations. Always label your equations. 2x minus 3y equals 3, and 5x plus 2y equals 17. So what we want to realize is that we don't really know how to solve two equations with two unknowns. We only know how to solve one equation with one unknown. So what we want to do is we want to do this by that they call linear combinations, or when I learned it was called elimination of a variable by addition. So we want to get rid of one of the variables, either x or y, so we have one equation with one unknown. So I look at these, and I could multiply this by 5 and this by negative 2, and I could get this to be 10 and negative 10. When I add those, they would, so to speak, cancel each other out. But I notice that I've got opposite signs here, so that's going to save me a negative sign. So I'm going to try to remove the y's, get rid of the y's. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll take equation 1. So I'm going to try to make both of these 6. And if this is negative 6 and positive 6, when I add them, the y's is 0 out. So I'll take equation number 1. I'm going to multiply that by 2. And indicate over here what you're doing. It makes it a lot easier to kind of keep track of your work. So I'll multiply everything by 2. So this is going to be 2 times 2 is 4x minus 6y equals 6. So make sure you multiply everything by 2. And I'll take equation number 2, and I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So 3 times 5 is 15. Oops. 15x plus 6y, and 3 times 17 is 51. Okay? And now when I add these, the negative 6y and the positive 6y become 0, so I have over here 19x. Now I have what I call a new equation. I call this equation number 3. 4x plus 5x is 19x, and that equals, and then 6 plus 51 is 57. So now I've got one equation with one unknown, and I know how to solve that. So I'll divide both sides by 19. And 19 happens to go into 57 exactly 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry your 2. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 57, so it goes in there exactly 3 times. Now I know what x is. Now if I want to find out what y is, I can put this in either one of these equations. So I'll just try it in equation number 1. So I'll write equation number 1. 2 times x minus 3y equals 3. But what was x? X was 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, so 6 minus 3y equals 3. And then I'll just subtract 6 from both sides. And I have negative 3y equals negative 3. And then if I divide both sides by negative 3, I end up with y equals 1. So x equals 3, y equals 1, or the 0.31 is on both those lines if we graph those lines. Okay? So I think that's a good example of solving linear equations in two variables.